Hi everyone, hope everyone's doing well. We are at the Cheryl Witha show, episode 3, rewinding again. All right, so we have Rachel back. I'm so sorry, there's been a bit of a mistake with the timing because I got it wrong again. The time zones are just horrendous for me. I'm really bad at it. I promise I'll become better at it. So I'm so thankful to have Rachel. I'm so sorry to keep you waiting, Rachel. So I'm just going to bring her right on. Hi, Rachel. How are
Hi,
you?
how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for dealing with me and all my my
It's
time
okay.
clashes.
It's okay. Time zones can be very, very tricky.
Very, very. It's really scary actually when it comes to the time zones. And in the US, it's crazy, right? There's so many different time zones throughout the whole country, right?
Well, we have a couple, right? They range from the East Coast all the way out to the West Coast, and yeah, so it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
I'm so excited to have you today. I've been following guys. I've been following Rachel back for a very, very long time, and I think I found you through. If I'm not mistaken, Chinedu. If I'm not
Oh,
mistaken,
my,
through Chinedu.
yeah, he's a
Yeah, yeah. He's
he's a,
amazing. I hope to be able to bring him on one day as well. I find him very interesting, the way
he's
he puts words together, right? Such an amazing
very
copywriter.
talented. Yeah, he's a
Yes. And so, for those of you who don't know Rachel, she does her own show as well, right, Rachel? You have your own show, and she speaks to like a range of different personalities. Am I right?
yeah.
So let's just start off with a little bit of an introduction, right? Instead of just introducing yourself like what people normally do, I want you to think of one person that you know the best, right? And how do you think they would describe you? And who is that person?
The person who knows me the best is family members and my best friends. Um,
Okay.
and I think it's I don't I have how would they describe me? They would say I'm working very hard to make this world a better place. That
And I think they're spot on.
yeah, that's how they would describe me. Hi James, how are you?
You know, James is tuning in from the sea. He's a captain in the sea. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he's tuning in from the sea. I think he follows you as well. So, Rachel, talk to me about who Rachel is, right? What are you all about? So, we talk about you. Your friends say that you are a person that is trying to change the world, right, into a better place. So, talk to me about that. How do you do that, changing the world into a better place?
I use my voice. I use my voice to cover many different topics. Social media to me is it's a huge responsibility, which is what some people are missing. And if you have a platform, you can use it to make changes in this world. And I'm trying to teach my network that to use the platform for good. I'm looking for the selfless people in the world. I've been doing my show for 3 years since the pandemic started, and I interview people who are inside my network to shine a light on them. I'm very protective over my network. I only keep kind, positive people in my network. That's who I keep. And I keep a big bubble around my network to keep them. Yeah, I really do. And
Yeah.
they more than they'll ever know. And so I use my voice to talk about really hard topics that some people don't want to discuss. I don't sugarcoat anything. Um, you know, that's what I
I
do.
think I think that's really important because these days we when it comes to social media, we want to paint a certain picture of ourselves and of the people around us, and often when we try to do that, it doesn't become very genuine, and we lose a sense of who we are and what we do. And I think you've spoken about this quite a number of times, right, in some of your posts about losing your soul to social media. Let's talk a bit about that, right? How do you think, for those people who are just starting off on LinkedIn, right?
Absolutely.
They're
Yeah.
just trying to kind of find their place. I mean, what's your advice? How do they find their place and show themselves, their true self, without having to worry? Because there's so much of pressure as well being on social media, right? Having to what do they do? How do they start to find that balance?
First of all, you have to find the right people, right? I tell my network all the time, surround yourselves with the right people. It's extremely important. You can get on social media and go one way or go the other. So it really comes down, Cheryl, we've been friends for a long time. Find your tribe. Find your
Yeah, find your tribe.
Find your tribe. There's a reason why I tell my network that. So that's extremely, extremely important. Also, social media is about, let me just say this the right way. The most successful people on this platform and especially on LinkedIn, are the selfless people. And that's a mistake people make, right? The
Yeah.
selfish people are not the ones who are going to succeed. It's never, ever going to happen. It's the selfless people who are out there, trying to truly help people. Those are the ones who make it to the very top. And I look for those people. I lift those people up because we need their voices.
So you talk about when you talk about LinkedIn, right? I've heard you say this quite a number of times as well. You get out of LinkedIn what you put in, right?
Correct. That's correct. Yes. You want me to explain that? This is
I think.
how, go
Mhm.
ahead.
Go ahead.
People I always get in like DMs, someone will say to me, oh, like, I'm just going to put 10 minutes in a day. Well, you're never going to be successful on this platform if you put 10 minutes in a day. You have to find, I balance it. I work 16-hour days because I am a company of one. People think I have a huge social media team. I don't. It's just me. But you have to figure out what works for you. I'm also very balanced, right? I'm very clear on my priorities, but I'm out here trying to help my network, right? I've been trying to do this since the pandemic started. People are struggling now. People are dealing with a lot. It's why I always ask people to be empathetic because they have no idea what's going on,
Yeah.
behind the scenes. They really, truly don't know. So you put into it what you get out of it. The other mistake people make, which you'll know, you'll tell me this is absolutely correct. They don't engage with people, and I'm going to be
Yeah.
covering that again. They don't engage with people, and we are so grateful for the likes that people do in our posts. Is in the engagement that the relationship is built. It is where the
Correct.
conversations are built. All business done on this platform is done because of the relationships that are built.
Yeah. I mean, you're only gonna build. I mean, you only buy from someone you actually trust, right? And how do you trust someone if you don't know them?
And
And
the referral
yeah,
is
so
everything. It's everything on this platform. So if I come and go, Cheryl was a great person, you need to connect, or someone comes to me and says, people do it all the time. They do it all week long. Hey, Rach, what do you think of this person? What is your
correct.
yeah? What is your experience with this person? Would you recommend them? Should I hire them? That's what happens. That is what goes on all day. People say, oh,
Correct.
what about this for that? So, how people conduct themselves, if they are professional and that person, let's say they stay in my mind, I'm going to refer them and say, yeah, you need to hire this person. This
Yeah.
person is
Yeah.
incredible.
And I think that's what a lot of people miss, right? Because they get on LinkedIn and maybe they're even consistent with posting and things like that. It's like, a formula, right? Got to get consistent, but they forget the soul of it all, which is the engagement, right? If not, you would just be another number in my LinkedIn, like one of the numbers. And a lot of LinkedIn gurus would
Mhm.
advocate for adding numbers. So the higher your number is, the better it is. But like you said, right? If there's no engagement, what's the point of it all? It's just it looks nice, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe that was
it's about if people come looking from a business aspect. LinkedIn is an extremely powerful place, and it's going to be getting even more powerful. And it's really, really, this is a time I tell my network all the time: build that profile. That profile that you have, and let's talk about photos, okay? So your profile is your business card. It is
correct.
so whenever someone says, hey, Rach, I'm interested, I want to introduce you to someone, I'm like, okay. And so I jump over, I look at their profile,
Like
I
your
look at
profile.
that. Yeah, I look at the activities, see what they're doing. And then I tell people, please get a good photo. Like, have a good photo because your photo is your business card. That's what it is. Your profile photo is your business. And it's not that hard. And for people, I was just talking to somebody about this, like, because they're new to LinkedIn, and they were asking me, like, I'm like, you gotta have a good photo. And we can all do that with our phones. right? And I'm saying this is like I was a photographer for 10 years. You can go outside, get
Exactly, right?
the light. Yeah.
And let's go into photography, right?
Mhm.
How do you think you talked about using your phone, right, to take your photograph? A lot of people assume that they need to spend a lot of money to put their photo out there,
Mm.
but you said we can use your mobile. Actually, my photograph on LinkedIn is using my mobile phone as well.
It's a great photo. You have a great photo. Yeah, you have a wonderful photo. Yep.
I have to thank my husband for that.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
completely agree. Yeah, we have Aina here. Hi, Aina. We got the name right, I hope. Aina Mustron. Hi.
So
Nice.
it's crucial, right?
Yeah,
It's just, I can't begin. And then for the people, and listen, some people have written to me privately and said, "Rach, I can't have a photo due to personal situations," right? So I still tell them instead of having that blank space, which is horrible for your
I know,
profile.
right? Like some grape.
Yeah, you never want that blank. Put something up there. If you can't, for specific reasons, can't have a photo, then you put something else up there. It's just it's important. It's really really important. I
It gives
don't.
people a sense, right, of who you are and what to expect. Like when I see you now, guys, this is the first time I'm seeing Rachel, right? Online, face to face.
I know. I know.
We've only spoken like over text, on LinkedIn messages, not really met, never met before. Actually, we've never even had a conversation via Zoom or anything like that. But I feel like I know you because
Yeah.
I've when I've seen your face so many times, right? Every time, and you look the same. I get that vibe. And of course, your videos, there's no pretense there. There's no, you
What
know,
you see is what you get. What you see is what you get.
exactly.
Oh,
And
listen, sir, I'm like in my mid 40s on the way up to my 50s. Like I'm not like who I am is who I am. That's just who I am. And people will tell you that meet me in person. Like my best friends who are on the pod, they're like, she's exact. What you see is she's exactly who she
exactly,
is.
exactly. So, there's one thing that I definitely want to talk about today, right? Which is your story, right? Rachel has a very, very interesting story. I would like us to go a little deeper and dig a little deeper to find out, like, who's this woman behind this profile, right? Who is Rachel, and how did you come to the point where you want to make a difference in someone else's life? I mean, it's not one day you just woke up and hey, it started somewhere, right? And your story, right? It's so complex, and when I think of it, it reminds me of being a survivor, right? That resilience. So let's talk about that, right? Where did you grow up? What was life like? And then we'll move on to talking about finding your way, right?
Yeah. So I was born in India. My mom died 2 days after giving birth. I'm actually looking for my biological father. I was put into the founder of an orphanage's home and stayed with her till I was adopted by a couple in the US. And I grew up on the East Coast outside Philly. Um, the reason why you asking me why I do everything, I've had five parents in my life, right? My mom, my biological who died, my biological father who I'm searching for, my foster mom, and my two parents now, right? Who I've had forever, and they are my parents. I was adopted when I was 11 months old, when they're incredible parents. They made a choice.
Yeah.
They all made a choice when it came to my life. The foster mom could have said no. I was severely sick and it was dropped off to her at the door. Um, People who adopted me could have said no. Everybody made conscious choices. I don't ever forget where I come from, ever. Ever. I go back. I stay at the orphanage. I'm doing a lot of things that I'm doing are concerning the orphanage. So I don't forget. But my legacy deeply, deeply matters to me for many, many reasons. You have a choice in this world, right? And I make that conscious choice, Cheryl. And you know me well enough. I make that conscious choice every single day to help people. I was taught these lessons when I was like 2 or 3 years old. Be a kind human being. Go out there, help the world, make a difference. Like what I can't even be around people who take from the world. They're not my people, right? I need to be around people who are making this world a better place.
So your parents had such a
Huge.
important part in your life, right?
And they
They
still do.
a lot
I'm
of
very
roots.
close to them, and I'm extremely close to my mother and father, and they still have a huge impact. I watched what they do, what they did, right? Um, I saw what they did. I have an aunt. I have four role models in my life. It's my mother, father, and my aunt and uncle, who I'm extremely close to. All of them. I watched, and it's pretty incredible what they accomplished.
So growing up with such important figures in your life, right? They've taught you what you need to know. They taught you the survival skills that you have, right? Coming from where you came from, you know, um and they really took you in. But what made you want to now search for your roots?
I've wanted to. I've wanted to my whole life. Listen, it's pretty common for people who are adopted to want to know. And listen, I have a lot of friends who are adopted. Some want to know, some don't. Some have met their biological parents, some have not. It's a very personal thing. And I personally, like, I use my voice as an adoptee because I don't like when people speak for us, because unless you've been through it, and my
You
situation
don't know what it's
is,
like. Yeah,
you don't know what it's like. So, and I've been very blessed by who adopted me, but that's not, every situation out there. We're a whole other breed and species. Okay. We've been asked to adapt, acclimate, fit
yeah,
into everything else. So I came to a point in my life where I stopped doing that. No
yeah.
way. I mean, you have to imagine, and I was young. I was 11 months old. All I've known is growing up in the States. It's all I've known.
Correct. I mean, you
Right?
didn't know India in any way, right? It's
Well, until, yeah, I mean, I studied it. I've been there multiple times. India is I have two homes, right? It's India and America. Like, I have my whole group of my whole life in India too. So yeah, it's really important to me.
what was it like going home?
Oh, very, very, very emotional for me. I remember when the plane landed and my feet hit the ground. Once I got the airport doors open, it was like having your soul come home. That's the only way you describe it. I was very emotional about it. And then it's a 24-hour flight, and then and then
It's not real. Yeah.
right, and then I had another. It's a 3-hour ride from the airport to the orphanage, so you're in dark like the whole time. It's huge. I do my roots. I have my whole other Indian family there. When I stay at the orphanage, the kids are incredible. The women are incredible. It's everything to me. It's my roots.
Yeah.
It's my
I
roots.
think roots are so important. We need to know where we are from. We need to know who we are, and knowing that helps us find our way, right? Helps us.
Absolutely. I unlock many pieces about my past when I'm there. I have to be on the ground to do that. I literally have to be on the ground to do that.
And when you went to India, right? How did, because you said you had to fit into a completely different culture, coming to the US now, it's like, and I guess growing up, did you always feel you're trying to fit into a certain jigsaw?
My whole life. My
And
whole And I've never felt I feel whole in India. I remember I was standing next to this guy. I was giving people a tour. There were a lot of volunteers at the orphanage. I was giving them a tour. They wanted to do all this stuff. And this guy who happened to was like, he was looking around the street. He was from Europe or America. And he said, "Oh my gosh, I'm a minority for the first time in my life." And it was a very deep, it's a really kind soul to it, very deep reality for him because he hadn't lived in that world, right? He's in America. It just wasn't his reality. He is the majority in America. But when he was in India, he said, "Oh my gosh, I'm a minority. First time ever." And he turned to me, and we were in like a very busy street, Gandhi Road in India. And he turned to me and he said, "Is this what you feel like every day in America?" I said, "Absolutely. I am a minority in my country. And this is exactly how I feel." So it was good for him to have that experience. And
definitely, I think until we're put into the position ourselves, you never know what it's really like, right? Because you've always felt like something not quite full. Would you say that? Like
well, I don't think people. I
something
think people.
missing?
I think here's the biggest problem. People. I never assume anything about anybody. That's a big pet peeve of mine. I guess people make assumptions about me all the time, and 99.9% of the time they're wrong.
Correct,
I
incorrect.
keep, I keep telling people
Yeah,
not to go on this platform. It's really important not to make assumptions about people,
yeah.
but it's accepting people for who they are, is understanding that just because of what, like, most people look at me like, there's when I say I'm Jewish, they're like, "What? You don't?" I'm like, "You don't look Jewish." I'm like, "What does that mean?"
I mean,
You know.
what does Jewish look like, right?
It's, yeah, the same thing when I tell people, when they're like, "Oh, you don't look like the image or what I thought." I said, "What image? What do you think I'm supposed to look like?" I'm like, I don't understand. I don't even understand that statement.
I,
So,
I, I, I can completely relate to that. Growing up is like this child. She looks. What is she actually? Is she this? Is she that? I think people want to put you into boxes because it's
yes,
easier.
yeah, for them, but
Easier
it's
to
not
put you
easier
into
for
a
us.
box, right?
I don't put anybody in a box. I've met people with such. My family is so diverse. Okay, my family is very. We have different backgrounds, different religions. We have different cultures. It's a gorgeous melting pot. Like when we all get together, like the entire family. So I'm trying to teach people on this platform, respect people's religions, cultures, backgrounds. Don't assume. Don't assume, and you're going to be just fine on this platform. Ask people the question. Here's the thing: people will answer the questions. So instead of people making assumptions, I'd rather them sincerely ask me, be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Rachel," and if it is a question that is appropriate to ask.
Yes. Yes. Don't simply ask just out of.
Yeah. Well, I get a ton of inappropriate questions all week long, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm not going to answer that," or "I wish you good luck in life."
Yeah. Yeah. I think we need to respect ourselves enough to when someone asks us something we're not comfortable with for us to say no. I'm sorry, um, I can't answer that, and I don't want to answer that as well.
And that's
And
okay. We have the ability to do. It's okay to say that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And I think sometimes when you look different, like my daughter is a mixture because my husband is African, and she has like super curly hair, of course, and because she looks different, right? And Malaysians. I'm sorry, Malaysians, but this is true, right? Even me growing up, they will come and touch your hair and pull it like,
That's not. Yeah, that's yeah. And I see. I have family members in my family who are African American, right? And it's
yeah,
offensive. It's really, really. If it's like my, I'll be with my cousins, and they're like, "Really? Did they just?" So there's certain things that you don't do.
yeah.
You
I
just
mean, you wouldn't do that to someone else. Why would
yeah.
you go and hold someone's head and go like, "Oh, is it real?"
And you don't do it here. I mean, I can tell you right now, it would never fly in this country. You just don't do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not okay. Like it's not okay. I mean, you should do a class just on that subject. I'll do it with you. The do's and don'ts when it comes to, because this is an important topic, Cheryl.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
There's a certain way to approach diversity.
yeah.
There are. I've been teaching about this for 15 years. I've been speaking on diversity awareness for 15 years. There are the do's and there are definitely the don'ts.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I think finding that balance is important because there are people who, I mean, ask completely out of context and they don't even think about what they ask. Then you have those people that,
Oh,
they don't
that's
dare to ask at all and they just keep quiet and they refuse to say anything because they're so afraid they're going to offend. Sometimes it's important, like you said, right, for us to have these conversations where people feel more comfortable. I mean, why not? Like, find out, have a conversation. Because when you look at someone like an object, I mean, when you go and like touch someone's hair like that, it's like you're looking at them and treating them like an object rather than a human being, right?
we can do this. You and I will do a discussion on this. It is really, really important. And the whole idea is, listen, Cheryl, I've been doing these for a long time, even when I speak in universities. And I'm there, a professor will bring me in. And I always end, obviously with a Q&A session. There's a lot of questions. Why am I in the university classroom? To teach. to teach people about, they'll ask the questions about the stereotypes or what they thought,
Yeah.
is to create and the students always say, thank you, Rachel, I had all these questions but I didn't understand and I didn't know.
Yeah.
When it's inappropriate to ask the question and not, it said, well,
Yeah.
and I always start my talk with, this is an open discussion, please raise your hand, I want to answer your questions today.
Yeah, definitely. So just a note to those listening in: if you do have any questions, please don't be shy and do ask the questions. Rachel is here for a little while more. She has a very busy schedule today, so we'll be closing soon. Say another 10-15 minutes probably. All right. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask any questions that you have. So I wanna go on and talk about. We talk about diversity, right? Where you've lived, where your home is, back in the US and as well as India, experiencing all these different emotions and different cultures and things like that. How do you think, knowing your roots, right, and being kind to people, how does all these elements help you find your way in life?
I'm trying to lead by example. I'm trying to, why? Because I've had horrible things done to me in my life. I've had horrible, horrible things done to me in my life. I've experienced it all, Cheryl. I've dealt with a tremendous amount of racism, anti-Semitism. Was bullied in middle school and high school, and that's why I have zero tolerance for bullying or cyberbullying. I'm using my voice to end that too. So yeah, I've taken the negative things that have happened to me in my life. I use it as fuel, and that's what I'm trying to teach now. There's certain things that I have zero tolerance for. Why? Because I deal with it. I've been with it. I mean, it's just,
Yeah. I think if all of us would take, because I mean, all of us go through various experiences, and especially negative experiences. If we took those negative experiences and learn from them and try to see what we can do with them and how we can help impact others in a kind way, right? That would help. How do you think, people around us, right? A lot of people listening to us are probably either very young or those in their late 50s, 60s. What can they do today, right? Something small that they can start doing, because a lot of people feel like, we've had discussions with students, for example, and they say, I will wait till I earn this amount of money for me to do something nice for someone else, or I'll
mm,
wait till I have this amount of money to help the orphanages and things like that. They always have this assumption that they need to make a certain amount of money to be in a certain social status in order to help others. What suggestions can you give to these people, right? What can they do today, right now, whether they're on LinkedIn or
okay.
not? What can
Yep.
they do? What can they start
What
with?
they can, there's a bunch of us on this platform trying to teach people to be kinder, to be more respectful. They can get out there. We're leaving in, you know me, Cheryl. I don't leave. You'll never see me write one negative comment. Why?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people are bombarded with negativity in their life, bombarded. And like, so I'm trying to, there's a lot of us trying, so they can get out there, they can lift somebody up with an encouraging message of hope. Like I said, people are really struggling right now. Mental health issues are up here 800% in this country. I just had a psychologist on the show talking about that.
Yeah.
They can make somebody's day, right? They can make somebody's day, and that costs nothing. That costs nothing to do that, to write a positive message.
Completely agree, right? It can be something as simple, I mean, that's on social media, or now that things are opening up, it can be something as simple as complimenting someone when you see someone uh, at the train station, right? Or even saying good morning. I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely. How
I
do
don't
I
know
start
what.
how do I
Yeah,
start my post usually? What do I say? I say good morning. Good
yeah,
morning.
yeah.
I usually start it because people don't do that enough. Right?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're right. People don't do that anymore,
if you see me, I'm like, good morning. How you doing today? So I'm also trying to bring etiquette back to social media and to business because I went to etiquette school, so I'm really big on etiquette. So you probably laugh when I do it. I'm like, listen, my tips for success. I'm like, please, thank you, you're welcome. You've seen me doing the videos. I'm like, please, thank you. And that goes a long way in this platform. That goes a very long way. Someone shows up on your post and they write something. Say thank you, because they might
Yeah.
not come back. That's real. So I'm trying to bring manners back to business, bring manners back to social media.
And it's really funny, isn't it? Because if you talk about please, thank you, and welcome, these are the things we teach kids when they're growing up. Okay,
You just
darling, say please. All right, auntie gave you something. Say thank you, right? And if someone gives you a compliment, say, "Oh, you're so beautiful." I mean, these are things that you're supposed to say, and we teach little kids. And now we
right.
need to be reminded.
You would be surprised. You would be surprised since the pandemic has started.
Yeah.
I've seen, and I know other people have shared with me privately too, a tremendous amount of entitlement go up. I have no love for entitled behavior. I have no love for entitled people. I have no love for it. But yeah, I'm trying very hard to teach people, please, thank you, and you're welcome. People's time on this platform is precious. It is just
Correct.
beyond precious. So if someone's taking their time to show up and hit that like button on your post or write that comment on your post, it's appropriate to say thank you. Thank you for showing up today. And to be grateful. Because what happens is if they're an attitude of gratitude is what makes people soar on this platform. It's what makes people soar on this
Guys,
platform.
heard that? Attitude of gratitude. Note that down. Attitude of gratitude makes people soar. I mean, people always ask, "Oh, how do I get on LinkedIn? How do I grow on LinkedIn?" Right? And sometimes it's the easiest answers and something that we've been taught from young, right? Basic etiquette, like you said, right? Being kind to others, and this doesn't take much from ourselves. We
Kind
just need.
people stand out, Cheryl. Kind people stand out on I look for them. I look for the kind people. And then what do? I work very hard to lift them up. I look for the kind souls. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you're right. Even in the workplace, when someone is kind to you, I mean, you will go all out of your way to do something for them. I remember having a boss who is, uh, I just did something very simple for him. He couldn't make it to one of the talks we had at school.
Mm.
Dr. Jagdeep, he was one of my ex bosses, and all he said, he after that, I mean, I'm one of his employees, right? I mean, we need to do the work kind of thing, right? He could have just said, "Look here, do it." I'm not here, replace me. But he took so much of trouble to come to my room and thank me. I mean, just that thank you, right? And I just felt like, oh my God, like so much of gratitude he's giving to me for something so simple. And I think if we did more of that, Rachel, like what you said, that would really help us all. So I want to talk about one more thing before we end today, right? What happens, right? In your case, in your life, there's been so many changes in your life, right?
Yeah.
And when life
Still
changes
are
people,
too. There still
sorry,
there still are. I'm always evolving.
constantly, right? There's no full stop, right? You say like, okay, I've done this and I'm done. It constantly changes. So what's your advice to people out there when their life changes, right? The plans that they've had, what do they do? How do they deal with that disruption, right? I mean, pandemic is one of the crazy
I've
disruptions.
had so much disruption. You know what? At this point, I just jump on the ride and I go with it. I thought my life was going to be a specific way. It absolutely did not turn out that way.
Yeah.
It was like 2008, and then I learned that lesson, and now I go with the flow. Whatever. I've had 3 near-death experiences, so I'm grateful every single day. I go with the flow. It is what it is. I wake. First of all, let me teach you something I live by. I don't have expectations of people. I like to be pleasantly surprised, and as soon as you let that go of having expectations of people, it's a big freedom. You're like, you know what? I love to be pleasantly surprised by people. And I just let go of how we have no control how things are going to be.
Yeah.
We have no control how our life is going to be. We have no idea. So I wake up every day and go, yeah, it could be really good. I hope it's going to be a wonderful day. I wake up with that positive attitude. Now, what happens from the time I wake up, because I'm a very early riser, until time I go to bed, that's all out of my control, right? Because you have all the other elements. You've got, the human elements, your interaction, what's going on in the world, so I go with the flow, sweetie. And there is a tremendous amount of calm and
Mhm.
peace with that. Letting go of expectations of people is huge.
I believe so. Definitely, right?
Yeah,
We just have to have the courage to do so,
yeah.
and not. I think setting all those expectations and expecting people to live by our standards sometimes makes life very difficult on both
Yeah,
sides.
well, why would you even do it to somebody? You're setting them up for failure, right? You're really
Mhm.
doing that. You're setting them up to fail. If you're like, oh, expect you to no, you not only are you putting pressure on yourself, you're also putting pressure on that person who didn't even know what you're. Oh, thank you. That didn't even know what your expectations were.
Definitely. Wyming says time to back to basics, mindfulness, and being in the present will go a long way. Definitely,
I agree
definitely.
with you. I absolutely agree with you.
Wyming was one of my mentors back when I first started working.
Hi, nice to meet you. Lovely to meet you. Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much.
That's my mom. My mom is tuning in as
Hi,
well.
Ian. It's so lovely to meet you. Your daughter is very, very special. Well, when you do the replay and stuff, and we'll talk about, because I know you always post your conversations and you do the replay that you do. We'll
Yeah,
come back. We'll have the powerful discussion about diversity that is
yeah,
necessary. We'll do it all.
definitely, definitely.
Nice to
So,
meet you, Mom. Nice to meet you, Mom. Mhm.
so as we're ending, right? One more thing, finding your way, your book, right? Can you share with us like maybe a snippet from your book, maybe
Okay, so
one of
this is actually really fun. I gave my book to one of my friends who's going through a really hard time.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
And the whole-
Can you give us a link? How do we get your
it's
book?
on Amazon. It's Finding Your Way When Life Changes Your Plans. And the whole idea was, oh, thank you, Christopher. How are you? So the whole idea, because my life didn't turn out the way it is, and it
Yeah,
was I battled. I've been told by somebody, and it's amazing. I'm still standing up. I shouldn't be. I really shouldn't be because I've gone through so much. I should not be standing here today. So I did this story, which came from an idea of one of my girlfriends, a very close, who I met in India and is in the States, and we're still friends. And I shared everything, and I'm 100 pages into the next book, and it's not for the faint of heart. My story is not for the faint of heart. It's the truth. It's everything I've gone. I battled a disease for 20 years, and that was a huge part of my life. I underwent a hysterectomy in 2017. I donated one of my ovaries to science to help find a cure for the disease that I battled for 20 years. So I've been through a lot, Cheryl. I also had PTSD due to a deeply traumatic event that happened in my life. So I use my voice for mental health. I'm trying to end the stigma when it comes to mental health because people go, well, Rachel, you don't look like somebody who has PTSD. I'm like,
yeah.
what, what does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? So I'm trying to tackle all those.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for taking the time. I know the time difference is crazy, right, between Malaysia and the US.
It's
So
absolutely okay. It's no
thank you
worries.
so much, guys. If y'all haven't already, follow Rachel on LinkedIn. You'll enjoy her posts, the energy, the vibes. What you give out is what you get, right? And I think one of the most important things we can learn from Rachel is let go of all expectations we have of other people,
Mhm.
and just get to know people. Be kind, right? It's not hard, and we all can start from wherever we are.
Yes, yes,
Correct?
yes. And thank you, Cheryl, so much for having me on your show today. I look forward to our
Thank
next
you.
discussion. We'll dive deep into diversity. I think it will be very powerful.
Definitely, definitely. So good night, everyone. Good
Thank
night.
you, Cheryl.
Bye. Any last words, Rachel, to the audience?
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you guys again soon. And thank you for your time. We appreciate your time.
Definitely. Don't forget, Rachel's book, Finding Your Way When Life Changes Your Plans, available on Amazon, right? Okay, good night, guys. Bye.